I thought we could start off this video by imagining a world where we didn't have all the healing arts, all the lineages that we do currently have, that we are aware of. Imagine a world where there was none of that on the internet. You hadn't gone to any of your workshops or read any of those books. Like, those materials, those techniques, those lineages and those teachers just weren't available to you or anyone. Imagine a world like that. When I think about that, and I have been lately, it makes me think about, well, how is it that I do have access to this information, to all the many things that I've enjoyed and explored and given me a lot of healing over the years? I mean, let's face it, there are so many different avenues, different paths, different streams of thoughts, different institutes, different lineages, different symbols and ways and beliefs and pathways that are of the light. Yeah, that are here to heal, that are here to help us suffer less, that are here to help us connect to ourselves, connect to each other, connect to spirit. But imagine if we didn't have them. So where did all these come from, and who helped us get them? It certainly is a valid question, and one that makes me think in terms of thankfulness and increasing levels of appreciation and gratitude for having such easy access. And I think it's so easy in this day and age, isn't it? With the click of a finger, click, 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 we can pull up vast amounts of information so easily on Google. And all of us, especially pre-COVID, have been and attended many circles, many workshops, and been in many classes, been with many teachers, and had that opportunity. And now online, there's huge amounts of people meeting on Zoom, on Skype, on WhatsApp, whatever it is, whatever medium, that's also abundant as well. So there's so much to be grateful for. And yes, sure, there's lots of, misinformation, and I often talk about that too, but basically we're really lucky. And like I said, all of this is proof that there's light on the planet, that there's people wanting to heal, that there's healers out there, that there's lots of this lovely light energy happening. And I think sometimes, until we're in a world, if this was to happen, where there's just total darkness and destruction, then sometimes we don't notice all this healing, we don't notice all this light. And so let's have a look at how lineages even get, just briefly. I don't have a lot of historical information on this and examples. I have just a few. I haven't done a lot of research on it, but all I know is that the lineage that I come from, the Tayshara lineage, like all lineages, has had many missing pieces that have been lost along the way. And those missing pieces, like all lineages, have been lost for various different reasons. Sometimes it's because there was a lack of transportation, to have somebody transport that piece of information, those practices, to other people. Sometimes it's been a matter of language and differences in language and culture, and not being able to translate, or there's been a dilution of the meaning and the purpose through translation, through many forms of communication watering down. And there's also been the obscuration of pure teaching due to people who don't want this information out there, and that can be for several reasons. One of them can be more like dark intent, like bad people not wanting other people to know about empowering, light-giving, healing practices so that they mute and obscure that consciousness on the planet. But equally, those that cultivate these wonderful healing practices and this information, these practices and techniques and modalities, need to protect the information from it becoming diluted. And you'll often see that having happened in many ancient lineages and even today. And that's also partly why with the Sacred Gates we don't share some of the many of the deep Taysharas, which are kind of like Asana's deep Taysharas and healing, on YouTube. It is just not the platform for this, because it can easily get misinterpreted, and I don't know who I would be teaching these things to, present company excluded. I'm sure that you wouldn't misuse them, but there are many people out there that are really hungry for power and hungry to dominate and control others through their practices and through these beautiful healing techniques that can easily be misused, and they're very, very powerful, such as other practices and secret symbols and things like that from other lineages. So there are those that want to preserve and protect, and that's also part of why we don't always get all the pieces in the pure teaching. So that's why when you meet a teacher, and especially in person, and you're willing and they trust you and they want to teach you, oh boy, what a lucky thing that is, to be taught by someone who has the goods and has pure teaching coming from them and pure intent, and that there's a real dedication on both sides of the teacher and the student to commit to the art, rather than to hierarchy and image and form and things like that, that basically essentially dilute, thousands of years of lineages of wonderful practices. So with that in mind, it is amazing with all these different opportunities for pieces to get lost along the way. It is incredible that we have such a huge abundance and array of such amazing practices on the planet. And so what I wanted to focus in on this video is those missing pieces and all of this abundance. That's there because there were people, practitioners, that were willing to travel long distances. I did hear about a story of maybe it was like the traditional Chinese medicine lineages of all the meridians, and someone had drawn or tattooed or drawn them on the man's body, and he then had to walk for many, many miles to share that information of the meridians and the lines of the body. That's something that I just heard. It could be totally wrong, but it does give you an idea of, well, how are these, these messages shared? It may not just have been in the astral and through higher level teachers communicating and holding workshops in the astral, and then information filtering through into this denser reality. That's also part of the process of sharing too. But there would have been people that traveled and risked their lives as well for us to have this information here today. And like I said, it's so easy to kind of overlook and forget this when we're click, 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 and we're getting all this information so easily. And it also then, this concept of that what I want to share with you, that I've been reflecting on, it also makes me think, well, I personally feel like we're heading towards an extinction, and that there will be, humans that survive, and we're heading into like a new earth. And we can see that there's a lot more environmental destruction continually now. Lots of fires burning, lots of ice melting, lots of gases being distributed into the atmosphere. There's disease. There's many, many destructions happening at the very physical, dense level of our planet. And the planet, as we know, will just completely, this is her process of regenerating and restoring herself. But we will be gone as a species, and I imagine that there will be humans that remain, that will rebuild the human spirit and human consciousness on the planet, and our lives will continue on in a new way, in a new atmosphere, in a new literal atmosphere, biosphere, chemically different to the one that we're presently in a destruction mode of destroying now, unfortunately. I'm sure there's some greater, bigger, more positive picture, but it is a bit heavy. So, but what I feel is that how are we going to preserve these sacred teachings? That's something that I've been looking into myself. We look back on ancient stone carvings, people that would, a tablet, literally not like a Samsung 3.5e Samsung tablet or whatever Galaxy tablet, but an actual tablet of stone. And recently they did find a tablet of stone that was, when they studied it, it looked like a mathematical tablet that was found. But people wrote, the 10 Commandments in stone and things like that. So how are we going to preserve? How are you? How am I? And just opening up, it's nothing to really, try to figure it all out, but just to drop that stone in the pool of our consciousness collectively and individually, and to look at how we're going to preserve what it is that we know, what it is that is knowledge embodied as knowing within us, and practices and things that you really find to be sacred, which is always significantly impacting, information that significantly impacts us, and practices that impact us positively. So yes, how are we going to preserve those? So there are many, many ways. And just to end this video, I just wanted to perhaps now to go into a little practice together, and to open up to the feelings of gratitude and appreciation that these kinds of questions and dialogues bring to us as practitioners. I know for me that this conversation I've been having with myself has definitely brought to light that it would benefit me and it would benefit everybody if I spent more time in gratitude and real appreciation for all those that have allowed these arts to come to me, especially for me personally, for all those practitioners that and groups that have helped preserve the Tayshara lineage. I have such gratitude to their commitment, to their dedication, to everything that I personally go through with my practice that you have to get through in order to connect with the essence of the art itself. And there's lots of obstacles in the path to that we get in our own way, that gives you the work to surrender and transform yourself so that you can connect to yourself through the essence of the art. And that's not an easy journey. It's such a rewarding journey, and it's one that I'm doing later on in life, and I'm so grateful for it. So I really do feel appreciative to all those that have come before me and have helped to rebuild the Tayshara lineage. And you yourself may also feel this if you are a practitioner really getting to know your art and committing to your art. You would probably feel this way in your own way. So it's important, I think, in our practice to spend some time appreciating and feeling grateful for the ones that came before us and the ones that are helping us now as well. And also to show our appreciation, not just in what we're going to do now together, this kind of style of spending a little bit of time, but actually in just practicing really well, whatever that looks like for you, like really honing in on how you need to configure your mental space, your mind, your consciousness, and your body, but especially your mind, your perspective, your intent, so that you get the best out of the art that you're committed to, so that you can really explore it and commit to it and give it all your best, so that it can give it to you. And perhaps that's how we preserve it. It is through our dedication to our practice, and that we actually do practice. We don't just talk about it. We don't just do it when we're working with someone, that we do it every day, even if it's just 5 minutes, even if it's just 1 minute. But that 1 minute, that 5 minutes, that half hour, whatever we can muster, it is just so on. It's just so pure. And that we try to bring it into our day-to-day when we have people that we're speaking to, and not just other spiritual type people that get us and get it, but everybody, that we share that healing with everybody through the essence of the art. And that, I think, is the deepest level of gratitude and appreciation. But I just wanted to spend a little bit of time now, just a minute or so, just to connect to our gratitude for all the healing arts and all the lineages that have survived, and that we hope will continue to survive, so that when we go through these, and then we are going through these massive changes, that, you know, in the dawn that will be awakening on the planet, in the new earth I feel that is coming, that there will be these arts still, you know, that there will still be access to healing, to the light, to the divine, to higher levels of consciousness, because we need it now, and we'll need it tomorrow, and we'll need it in the future. So let's just spend some time now. So just make your body comfortable wherever you are, and just bring into awareness that of these facts, these concepts that we've just talked about. And also just be aware of your desire to be grateful, that you want to be grateful, and that you do feel grateful. I just want you to feel all of that. A lot of that's, you know, intellectual bubbling away in the mind. And now just relax your body and open up your body by relaxing your body. Just focus on your body, feeling your body. And just notice the feelings that are there. Try not to be too judgmental if they don't feel like gratitude to you, if we try to push gratitude. So just let it be what it is. You get more out of it if you are just with yourself the way you actually are. And just focus on feeling your body and making your body more and more comfortable. And just notice how your body feels like it needs to naturally organize itself in response to your mind attending to it like this, feeling. And just release into the gratitude, appreciation, the facts, the concepts, the knowledge that we've touched on here. And just trust that your body knows how to open to that level of gratitude and appreciation. and that it opens to this. It opens through that, those qualities of appreciation and gratitude by relaxing. Relax your eyes and jaw. Allow your body to sink and relax naturally. And just know that by relaxing and opening in this way, in this moment, that this transparency and openness and willingness is your prayer of gratitude and appreciation and thankfulness. That your willingness to be with yourself in this very conscious, real way is your appreciation, is an act of gratitude to all those that have brought and preserved and protected and communicated and transferred this knowledge that we have available on the planet today. Continue to feel your body so that you can keep moving through any constrictions, whatever they are, doesn't really matter. Relaxing your body, jaw, eyes. Sitting in openness, softness, lightness. Yep. Beautiful. So I just wanted to do a video on that because it's something that I've been really reflecting on, and I hope it's been helpful for you too, just to have a little dialogue as if you were here with me to talk about that, because it is really a valuable thing to reflect on, and for us to feel like we're part of, and to know that we are part of the ongoing development of these arts, that we're all part of that, and that each of us plays a role in protecting and preserving and developing and listening to and connecting to these sacred arts that heal humans, that heal the planet, that can have the ability to heal across time and space, sometimes more than we probably are even aware. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope this has been a helpful video for you. If it has, if you found value in the Sacred Gates in the YouTube channel, please subscribe. And I have to say, the website, the Sacred Gates website, is actually under construction right now. I have a fantastic guy helping me, and but it has meant that the site's closed just as I opened up the download link, so sorry about that. So if you are going to the website to download the Major Missing Pieces, which is an audio, about a 20-minute audio recording that I've made for you, you can't actually access that right now. I'm really sorry about that. And I can't really make it available for you until the website's finished, but it should be finished in at least a couple of days. So thanks for being patient if you haven't already downloaded that, and just keep checking in on the website until it's open. Sorry about that. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Please subscribe, please like this video, and I'd love for you to leave a comment. I always love to hear from you if you're willing to share, and thanks so much for being here as I shared with you. Okay, bye-bye for now.